Hello friends, Adam here with FED. Today we are going to talk about Cindered Shadows, the side mode and the DLC mode for Fire Emblem Three Houses. And really I just want to revisit it and talk about it again, and the things that I like about it. It's been a while since I've played it, so it's kind of a fun re-look back at it. In particular, I want to talk about a lot of the preset stuff that I think is interesting. So, first off, let's talk about the units they chose. And obviously having the three lords in one route or in one place, on one army, is a really fun touch that we don't get to see ever anywhere else, right? It is also interesting, these three characters, I'm not sure why some of these got in. Hilda is kind of like Claude's second in command for most of the story of Verdant Wind, so it makes sense there. But Linhardt, why is he here? I guess we needed a healer. He needs Physic and Warp, which is great. I don't think he comes with Warp though. I don't think he doesn't get Warp. Yeah, he doesn't get Warp in this mode. But he does have Physic and Restore, which are really useful. And then Ash is another just interesting pick to me. I don't feel like Ash is anyone's favorite character. But he does have Lockpick, which fills a specific niche that you don't get to have anyone else fill in this group. You know what I mean? So no one here has access to Thief, I don't think. Yeah, no one else has access to Thief. So, and he doesn't even have access to Thief in this crew. So you have someone who can open doors in the opening party. I mean, you can always just use Yuri as a Thief if you need to. But I guess that's kind of his little niche that he adds. And also, yeah, and that moves into the next thing that I think is really interesting, is the preset classes that all these units have. Does a good job of giving some fun diversity while also kind of setting it in motion, the challenge that's going to be in the game, because you don't get to just build whatever you want, you know? So it may not be the most optimal builds or the smartest things in the world that you would do in your own playthrough of the main story, but they're interesting enough to keep it fun. So Byleth, Swordmaster, whatever, but he also can go into Priest, which I think is really interesting. I'm just going to go over a few of these that I think are really cool. So I think the fact that you can go for a second healer if you really need it to accompany Linhardt is a fun touch that they didn't need to do, but they did. I like it. Another interesting pick is for Dimitri, which I thought was weird at first. So he starts off as a paladin. That's what he normally is.
This power will.
But he can switch to hero if you want to. And at first glance, you're like, why the heck would you ever make Dimitri a hero over paladin? I mean, there's a 3 speed boost, but then you have to use the sword fair instead of lance fair. But that's because of the skill set that he comes with, and it actually merges really well. And it shows that the developers of this really knew what they were making. You know what I mean? They knew what builds were effective. Because on top of Vantage that comes with the hero class, Dimitri also has Battalion Wrath. So you have to lower both his HP and his battalion's HP, but if you do, you get the coveted Vantage Wrath combo, right? And plus Sword Fair, and then a Killing Edge, which you can just buy in the shop and he can use a base. Awesome. He can just murder things on enemy phase 4 if you need to. It's a lot of fun that way. I think it's a fun build that they just throw in there for you. And then the other interesting one that I think is at an actual debate, other than shoutouts to Hilda can go Pegasus Knight. I think that's actually a pretty good choice for some of the maps. But I really like Ash. He can go Assassin here, so it's a trade-off. His offensive capabilities, he kind of loses out a little bit because no bow fair, which is what you want to be using with him at this point probably, and you lose out on bow range +1. But as an assassin, you gain 1 movement, so instead of 5 move, you have 6. And stealth, which just has some utility in it, regardless of who it is, really. Just being able to avoid enemy counterattacks can be nice. So you can just sneak them in and do some damage. But again, it makes him use Sword Fair, which is kind of a similar thing. Why would you have him use Sword Fair? It's kind of annoying. I tend to leave him as a sniper, but there are some moments where Assassin can be nice for the extra movement. So I really like the builds that they gave you, the units they gave you. Again, when they first announced Hilda, Ash, and Linhardt, I was like, why them? I don't want to play, I don't want to use them. But it ends up being a lot of fun, and I appreciate what they do. Now, as far as the map design goes, I think Cindered Shadows has some really fun maps. So I know some people complain and say they're too long. I've heard that, and I've also heard that they're tedious. And my thoughts on that are that, yes, they're long, but there's only like 7 of them, right? So that's what it is, right? It's 7 chapters? I'm not wrong on that, am I? It's been a while since I played it. But there's 7 chapters-ish. Now I'm not confident in that statement. Anyways, there's about 7 chapters. There's not very many. And the fact that they take a long time, I think, isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, in that they take a long time not because they're boring. Like, see, like Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, which has these really long maps that take forever, because they have multiple objectives, sure, but there's a lot of just walking in between. And there's maybe one map in Cindered Shadows that kind of falls prey to that, where I think it's the next chapter. It's the one where it's the big square, and you just like run. You have to route enemies, but then after you kill one group of enemies, there's a group of reinforcements in the other corner. And then you have to move all the way over there, and then another corner, and move all the way over there. And that's kind of a frustrating map. But other than that, look at this. It's engaging the entire way. So right off the bat, you're being threatened by a couple assassins, and then Balthus and a bunch of other guys over here, right? And then as soon as you get past them and get through here, you have all this nonsense. But also, there's reinforcements that pop out of here that keep you on your toes. And it just keeps you busy all the way up until you get through here. And also kind of a fun thing, Happy doesn't start here. Happy actually starts here once you start the map. Or at some point she moves here. And she has long range magic, right? Because of her class, it gives +1 magic range for dark magic. So she can like snipe you through here. I don't know, I just think the map design gets crapped on a lot more than it deserves to be. I think it's a huge step up from what you get in the main story of Three Houses. So yeah, actually before we finish, let's talk about the Cindered Shadows, like main characters essentially, the Ashen Wolves. The leader, Yuri, is a trickster. He can also be a thief. I can't remember his other class. It's like whatever though. But I think the coolest thing about him is the Fetters of Dromai. So you get +1 move and you get Canto. You know, he's not the only person that can use it, but he can use it. You know, I don't know. Anyone can get the plus movement and stuff. So if they have a crest, they don't take any damage for having it. Actually, you might not even take damage. I'm trying to think. Do you take damage? I know you do with weapons, but like I don't know, like the shield, like Felix's shield. Did that damage someone after combat? Probably, right? I don't know. Regardless, I think Yuri is a fun addition to the team, and I think it's interesting. He does have heal, but it's like his magic is kind of whatever, you know. It's honestly kind of bad. And the trickster class in itself, it only has like half magic uses, so it's like noble or commoner. And I don't know why they did that. It makes it like a lot less interesting to use, in my opinion. Constance is really, really cool. The fact that when you actually get to use her, she gets that. It's nice that they don't give her bolting here. But when you get to use her, she gets bolting, and if you get lucky enough to have bolting activate with her crest, that's just an extra use of bolting, and that's really fun. And that's just a fun little niche unit she is. I don't like her personal skill very much. You know, Circadian Beat, it's kind of annoying. I'd rather just, I don't know. Because it seems like such an arbitrary thing, outdoors and indoors or outdoors, like, changes her quite a bit. I don't necessarily like that. I feel like she's always going to be better indoors, because like her defense and res are never going to be that good. But yeah, I think she's an interesting character on her own, and a fun class to play around with. Happy, I don't want to say she's underrated, but I think people a lot of times will say Constance is better at combat. I might just be thinking that for some reason. But I do like her spell list, especially she gets Death, which is a 3-range magic attack, but plus the bonus from her class. Magic range +1, so it's like a 4-range magic attack, which is dope. Yeah, she's really fun to use. And Balthus is kind of whatever. I feel like Balthus might be one of the better units in the game in the main campaign, but the fact that he's stuck to Warmonk really hurts him, in my opinion. Warmonk isn't that good of a class. I don't think it's that good of a class, number one. Number two, it's definitely not that good of a class for him. So Warmonk is kind of disappointing as far as the DLC goes and for Cindered Shadows, but I like all the other classes a lot. But yeah, let me know what you think. What do you guys think of Cindered Shadows? I personally really like it, and I think I'm going to play through it again soon, just for the heck of it. And try and make use of some unit combinations I've done. Like I didn't do Hero Dimitri at all, but I definitely want to But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like Cindered Shadows? Did you play it? Did you play the Did you buy the DLC? Did you like enjoy it? Do you think it was overpriced? All that different stuff. I'm curious to hear. Especially now that it's all settled in a little bit. We're not just like reacting in the moment. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe and tune in to tonight's live stream for some more hot 3 houses action.